something's changed. There was a time when femininity wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. It moved subtly, spoke with grace, and influenced without domination. It was soft power, and it built civilizations from behind the curtain. But look around today. The softness has hardened. The whisper has become a roar, and the charm that once disarmed kings is now dismissed as weakness. What happened? Where did true femininity go? And what replaced it? The term soft power was first coined by political scientist Joseph Nye. It described a nation's ability to influence others not through force or coercion, but through attraction, persuasion, and cultural appeal. But the concept extends far beyond politics. For centuries, what we now call feminine energy was the very embodiment of soft power. Not because women were weak, but because their influence flowed differently. Emotional intelligence, nurturing presence, diplomatic sensitivity, a refined sense of timing, of beauty, of knowing when to yield and when not to. These weren't tools of control. They were the invisible threads that held families, communities, sometimes entire empires, together. By contrast, hard power, typically associated with masculine energy, leans on dominance, assertion, direct action. It's the sword. Soft power is the silk. And while both energies have their place, the modern world has increasingly privileged one over the other, rewarding force, speed, and volume over subtlety, presence, and care. So the question isn't just, where did femininity go? It's, why did we stop valuing the quiet strength it offered? In many past civilizations, femininity wasn't just accepted, it was celebrated. The ideal woman was seen as maternal, cooperative, graceful. She was the emotional heart of the family, the silent strategist in the background, and the symbol of beauty and continuity. Femininity was power, but it was a different kind of power, one that didn't need to shout to be heard. But something shifted. As the feminist movements evolved through their waves, the focus began to shift from equality of value to equality of behavior. Empowerment, over time, became defined less by the celebration of the feminine, and more by how well a woman could emulate masculine traits. Assertiveness, independence, dominance. Strength became synonymous with hardness, and softness became suspicious. Modern media reinforced this. Pop culture gave rise to the archetype of the self-sufficient, hyper-independent woman, not as one valid expression among many, but as the only acceptable model of empowerment. The boss babe, the girl boss, a figure who wins not by embracing her unique energy, but by playing the game the masculine way and winning at it. In the process, the nurturing feminine ideal was quietly dismissed, not just by men, but by women themselves. What was once seen as sacred was now seen as weak. But when something essential is suppressed, it doesn't disappear, it festers. As femininity is downplayed or distorted, many women find themselves caught in an identity crisis. They're told to be endlessly ambitious, endlessly productive, yet still emotionally available, compassionate, and graceful. The result? Burnout, anxiety, a quiet, creeping sense of disconnection from the self. There's a cost to constantly performing power in a way that doesn't align with who you truly are. To be both soft and strong isn't a contradiction, but modern culture rarely shows a path to reconcile the two. Relationships, too, suffer. With traditional gender roles blurred and sometimes demonized, many men and women find themselves unsure of how to relate to each other. Masculine and feminine energy, once complementary, now often compete. Polarity is lost, and in its place, resentment, confusion, power struggles. Carl Jung called the repressed inner feminine the anima. He believed that ignoring this side of ourselves, whether you're a man or a woman, leads to neurosis and imbalance. To shut out the feminine is to shut out a vital part of the psyche. the part that nurtures, connects, and breathes life into meaning. And yet, that's exactly what's happening. The disappearance of femininity hasn't just impacted women. It's deeply affected men too. Many feel a growing sense of disconnection in relationships, not because they fear strong women, but because something essential is missing: polarity. In a world where assertiveness is expected from everyone, the complementary dance between masculine and feminine has faltered. What used to be attraction now feels like competition. Some men feel emasculated. Others grow disillusioned. They withdraw, not out of weakness, but confusion. They're unsure where they fit in a dynamic that no longer honors their natural energy, nor recognizes the opposite one. This confusion has helped fuel the rise of red pill content, not just as rebellion, but as a longing for polarity, for softness, balance, and a deeper connection that transcends roles and power games. Many men today aren't seeking to dominate. They're seeking harmony, not promiscuity, not control, but something real, something rooted. And in that search, they're drawn to what's been lost: the quiet power that once defined the feminine. Soft power hasn't disappeared. It's just been rebranded or forgotten, but it still holds the same weight. And maybe, more than ever, it's exactly what the world needs. So, can femininity be revived? The answer isn't to turn back the clock. It's not about regression or restriction. It's about reclaiming what was never truly weak to begin with. Femininity is not the absence of strength. It's the presence of a different kind of power. Soft power doesn't shout. It doesn't demand. It influences through empathy, radiates through presence, and transforms through inspiration. In a world obsessed with speed and control, feminine energy reminds us to feel, to connect, to move with grace rather than force. Reviving femininity doesn't mean giving up freedom. It means learning how to express that freedom in a way that aligns with your nature. It means redefining power, not as domination, but as depth. Not as resistance, but as resonance. What's needed now isn't a return to rigid roles, but a return to balance. Because when both masculine and feminine energies are honored, not only do individuals thrive, so do relationships, families, and cultures. Soft power never died. It just stopped being seen. Maybe it's time we looked again. We don't need to go backward. The future doesn't have to be a rejection of the past. But maybe it should be a reconciliation. In our rush toward independence, achievement, and progress, we've gained a lot. But what have we lost? Grace, warmth, the quiet strength that once held the world together from the inside out. Maybe it's time we remembered that real power doesn't always look like dominance. Sometimes it looks like stillness, like softness that doesn't break, but bends and returns even stronger. So let me ask you, do you think femininity still exists? Or has it been buried beneath the weight of modern ambition?